The Wall Street Journal is reporting tonight the Biden administration wants to do something about it, wants cigarette makers to reduce the amount of nicotine in their products, possibly even making them no longer addictive at all. So where does that leave smokers tonight? More importantly, where does that leave someone who hosts a podcast called Eat, Drink, Smoke? Let's bring in Tony Katz, the host of Eat, Drink, Smoke podcast. Tony, happy Friday to you. Always good to see you.
An absolute pleasure.
So I know you're not a big fan of regulation, but this could save lives.
Well, let's go over a couple of things. First, not only a podcast, a radio show heard across the country on weekends at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Secondly, we're cigar people, not cigarette people. So I don't ever get engaged in the conversation about cigarettes. What I get engaged in is when people try to compare cigarettes to cigars and do so with a tremendous amount of ignorance, with no data behind them. You're talking about a hand-rolled product in a cigar. You're talking about something that's actually a work of art that involves a lot of third world trade, that takes hundreds of people and man hours to do, and is marketed only to adults. So there are massive differences also in terms of how you deal with a cigar. A cigar is not inhaled, a cigarette is. I think that this is a very interesting move from the Biden administration. I still oppose it because cigarettes should be an adult product and adults can make this decision for themselves. We have known for years that cigarettes aren't good for you, and people still smoke cigarettes. Well, that's the end to me of the ball game. I don't want to nanny state this. I don't want to regulate it. The idea that it could save lives. If I said to you, I could stop car accidents after 6 p.m. by not allowing people to drive after 6 p.m., it's the same mathematics, and those mathematics are terrible for a free society.
So the Tips from Former Smokers campaign found 1.8 million people tried to quit smoking. Only 104,000 were able to quit for good. I guess you wonder, does something like this give them a shot to still enjoy the idea of smoking a cigarette, but less of the addictive quality?
Yeah, I don't have that answer. I'm not quite sure how the cigarette smoker sees it. I think the larger conversation is important. You got to pull back a little bit. This is the government telling you, hey, here's what's best. Will they do it now with alcohol and decide that the only thing you can drink is O'Doul's? There are conversations here about what it is we want our government to do, where we want them to be involved. And the one thing I don't think we should want is the nanny state government, which is exactly what this is. I wish that my government would stop pretending that they care about me so much. Stick to Article 1, Section 8, because when they care, it's like we take a look at inflation right now, and they're going to come up with plans to fix inflation. They cause it, and then they try and fix it. How about you stop getting in the way? You stop putting more money into the system. You stop thinking you can spend your way to prosperity, and maybe the system will work itself out, but it's going to take a lot of time when you don't have a supply chain.
Well, I just wonder, it's got to be tough to be a smoker these days. I don't know about a cigar smoker, but I mean, they've pretty much been banned from everywhere. So I'm curious who still takes up the habit, knowing, one, the risks, and two, you can't really do it anywhere outside of your own home.
On the cigarette side, I don't have a good answer for you, except they're out there, and you see them out there.
They're out there.
On the cigar side, I've walked down Broadway smoking a cigar in New York, have never, ever been bothered, except by people who are saying, hey, nice cigar. It's kind of fantastic. The cigar world is a much different conversation. It's where people gather. It's where they engage conversation. It's where they share. I've talked more about parenting than politics in cigar lounges all across the country. And it's one of the reasons I'm a fan of the lifestyle so much. As for the cigarette smoker, I'm not sure where they're going to turn, because they don't really get any sympathy. There's very little sympathy and feeling for the cigarette smoker. The issue here is, do we want government engaged in this? And the answer is no. This seems to be a lot of smoke and mirrors. Come on, the pun. It's world class. A lot of smoke and mirrors to not focus on inflation, to not focus on the lack of baby formula, to not focus on gas prices, and just move on to something else and get America thinking about something else.
Well, I mean, I guess the question is, they want cigarette makers to reduce the amount of nicotine. What are the chances that cigarette makers are going to do anything close to that, right? Okay, good idea.
I don't actually know if they engage a level of placation, if they start putting out a brand, is it Marlboro Light? I don't know how they visualize it. I don't know where the regulations can really go. But the problem is the regulations. Listen to the conversation that we're having. It starts with government saying, we know what's best for you. It's clear to me, not being a doctor, that cigarettes are not good for you. It's also clear to me that too much government interference is not good for you. So I want less government interference, and people know the risks of smoking. Don't take it up.
Right. I mean, do we still need to see the commercials of the consequences of cancer? I think we also know that. Hey, it was fun talking to you, Tony. I didn't realize you were going to get on a cigar box tonight. I love that.
See, look what you did there. Look at you. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's why she's got the 2 gigs. 2 right there. The cigar box.
All right, Tony. Have a good weekend. It's always fun to have you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.